the Merrill from the Merrill Report right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Today we are talking about Alabama quarterback Austin Mack. All right, so we're going to talk about these quarterbacks, but I was talking with the owner of this footage, who is from Sports Idol. And look, I saw some footage on him working out over spring break, caught my eye, asked him if I could use some of his footage. He said yes. And he's like, by the way, before you go, he's like, I think you should know that Austin Mack is one of the most, he's the genuine soul. He's like, was one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And he's like, and also he's probably closer to 6'8". So here with Merrill, just to kind of break down just some film, get some intel. As you know, Merrill in Washington and knows about, DeBoer's system. So let's talk about this footage real quick. And by the way, this was absolute dart. What do you think about Austin Mack coming in? He's a freshman, a lot to work on, but, we have some footage to go over.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think Austin honestly is a great fit, especially for DeBoer's system. But I mean, he's going to excel at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with the targets that he'll get through recruiting, the guys that are already there, to go along with him with this freshman class that he came in with. Granted, he's a transfer, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, these are all the guys that he would have come in with because Austin graduated early and went to University of Washington. What is also pretty cool about him, right, is he had that time to study under Penix. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. Everyone talks about how smart Penix is, right, and how he's able to really dissect the field, understand the playbook. And then on top of that, like his ability to articulate this offense is phenomenal. So for Austin to get in early, have that time to work under Penix and see the way Penix sees the field, pick his brain. That's huge. Anytime you get a mentor like that, that is obviously going to potentially be early second round draft pick with Penix. Mack gets to kind of experience that while he's at Washington. What's also interesting, I think, with Mack is we talk about his size. Like the guy is a monster, right? Kind of gives you that like Cam Newton size-wise look, right? Maybe a little skinnier, but he's huge. He's athletic. We see that in his last move, getting outside the pocket, moving, and then making that throw on the run. And that throw also is like right down the line. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. He'll stand in the pocket too.
That's what stood out to me is watch this clip right here. So what you're going to see is the pocket's going to collapse. He's going to roll out to his right. And I think for what he lacks in terms of like that escapability, just because he's a big dude, and I think he's going to gain more, physical attributes as he continues to work with his coaching staff. But from right here at the high school, and this is high school footage, and I have some footage of him over spring break as well that I'm going to play. But look at this. So he's got the long legs. It's coming up next. He's going to roll to his right. And he's going to be able to put the ball right on the money so he can throw on the run. He has some good athleticism. He's a 6. This is it right here. So he's going to be able to escape, pushes off, and then he throws it right on the line right there. So, and I think this is another clip as well where he gets out of the pocket and he's able to throw on the run right there. I mean, it's a big dude. I was surprised. It's like 6'8". I think they advertised him at 6'6". What else do you like about his game with him coming in? Because, you look at the quarterback room for Alabama, and before this season, last year you had Eli Holsting, and then you had Tyler Buckner who transferred, and you had Julian Sain who was here and then he left. But this year I feel like the quarterback room overall is better top to bottom than it was last year.
I agree. And the reason I say that is because we do have really strong competition in that room right now. And then with Austin coming in, I think a lot of guys maybe didn't give him as much credit for how good he really is. I feel like he could potentially be, if he wouldn't have graduated early, right? He would have been 1-2 quarterback in the class for this last 2024 class. So ranking wise, I mean, the guy graduates early, but he still was one of the top quarterbacks. I thought that was pretty phenomenal. And then the next part too is this guy. You look at like overall his numbers, and I don't have him down pat, right? But we talk about his high school numbers for this year that he starts at Folsom, right? So this is I think it's his only season he starts, and this would be his junior season that we're watching right now. Folsom High School. For those who don't know, Jacob Browning came out of Folsom High School. They have put out some good quarterbacks. Jacob Browning was killing it for the Bengals just recently, this last season. So you look at him. And you watch, the guy's really accurate, right? Like he really understands like where that ball placement needs to be. His footwork is pretty good. I mean, even under pressure, I would like to see him maybe step into the throw instead of stepping back, but that's pretty common, right? But he stays in that pocket. He's not going to just hurry to get out. And I think that's what DeBoer likes about him too. His number one is accuracy. I think that was huge in his recruiting. Okay. The numbers he put up were freaky for a high school player. I thought they were impressive. I mean, I don't know if we have those, if anybody can list those out, but they were good. They were good. And then you just look at his overall, from a standpoint of, we talk about character, integrity, leadership, moral values, right? All that stuff. And we hear about like the rumors about who he is as a person, just a good person, right? Exactly what you want your locker room to thrive around. Okay. And that quarterback is such a huge, I mean, it's in the tradition of football, the quarterback, right, is the leader of the locker room. Okay. And this is the type of guy that you continue to build off of, and you create that camaraderie that helps you win. And I think that's the key in where we look at what DeBoer does with his teams, is he finds that guy who can lead the locker room and help that belief in his system and what is going to happen. And I guess those maxims, as he calls them, right? He finds those guys who allow him to build off of that and make sure it builds everybody else in. That inclusive culture is huge to winning, right? You can't have a divided locker room. And to have a guy like this with that sort of character, right? And just and willingness to just be humble, to work, understand his role for the time being, and know his shot is coming. Man, that's big. That's big.
I'm going to put some other footage in. So we're going to pause on the video edit, and we're going to add this, because this was some footage that we had, and then I'll let you get to your segment. This footage right here was from, this is recent. This is like, I don't know, 2 weeks old, if that. And you can see, you know, a big, like, I mean, he's got a cannon.
He does have a
big dude. And again, this is from Sports Idol. So I just wanted to get your take on the quarterback, Austin Mack. I know a lot of people are excited about him, and can't wait to see what he brings and how he develops. Like, I'm not saying like this is the guy coming in and he's going to be like the guy. I have no idea. I mean, right now we know that Jalen Milroe is the guy at Alabama. But in terms of like your quarterback room, who are the guys that you have? And this would be my last thing, Merrill, before I go forward. What have you seen overall in Coach Kalen DeBoer's philosophy for quarterbacks in terms of recruiting? Because I think a lot of people would probably feel, okay, you have Austin Mack coming in. He just wants a pro-style quarterback. But then you look to the guys that he's still going, like Juju Lewis isn't a pro-style quarterback. He's going after, guys that are pro-style, that have escapability. What has been his philosophy outside of Penix? What other quarterbacks and what type of quarterbacks has he recruited?
Yeah, I think you look at the guys he went after. Forgive me, I can't not remember the young man's name from Washington. I'd have to pull it up. He ended up staying, I believe, with the Huskies. He was a stud, and he's now with Jeff Fish over at Washington. The guy, he was like maybe I think the only quarterback they brought in for that class, if I'm correct, at Washington. Granted, again, Washington's hard to recruit to, like the corner of a really cold, rainy area in the Pacific Northwest. But you look at this quarterbacks overall that he's even targeting right now. Like we talk about Aaron Nolan, because there's a lot of familiarity with him just due to the fact that his brother played under that system, right? So he's one of those guys. He wants accuracy. He wants guys who understand the game or are willing to put that work in to understand the game. I think another part of that too is as a leader, like he is big on what's your character, your integrity, your humility. I don't need a guy out there running around getting in everyone's faces. Yeah, I want you to get excited. I want you to play, but I need a leader, right? I don't need somebody who's chaotic all over the place or his emotions are up and down. DeBoer wants someone very similar, I think, to be honest, similar to himself. And honestly, that goes back to his relationships at Sioux Falls with one of his best friends. And we talked about him a lot. But he ended up being the quarterback when DeBoer was a wide receiver at Sioux Falls, right? And their personalities, and again, this was he's the indoor coach, and I can't the name. I always forget his name. You guys know what I'm talking about. Remember, we were talking about him from a coaching perspective, coming over. He's a championship coach. Well, I think when they look at him, right? I think we really look at the way DeBoer looks at these guys, and he looks at like the culture that was built originally that he excelled under, who he is now. Because you'll see DeBoer on the sideline this year. We're like I've said it before, we're not going to see slamming headsets. I mean, it's entertaining for sure. I love seeing it, man. It's a lot of fun during the game, right? But I mean, that's how my high school coach was. He was the man, that stuff. But DeBoer is very composed. Okay, I mean, even when things are wild and crazy, DeBoer is a composed leader. He is that calmness in the storm. You know, he tells the story of the buffalo, right, and why he respects the animal of the buffalo, right? And I've told it before, but while he's at Indiana before a coaches meeting, he tells the story about why he likes the buffalo, and he says it's because the buffalo faces the storm and walks right into it, right? That's like DeBoer's full mentality, and I think he wants a quarterback who also has that mentality, you know. And I think Penix did a great job of it last year. I think there's very few times he got shaken up. We did see it in the national championship. He just wasn't himself. And we saw it in a few other games last year when maybe they didn't put up points, but when Penix was kind of following DeBoer's leadership and style, he was at his best. And I think you'll see that in the type of recruits he's going to bring in. Juju Lewis, I think, also has that same type of composure, which is impressive. He comes across that way. Aaron Nolan, like I said, and then there's a number of other guys that they're looking at, but I think they are, when it comes down to the quarterback, they're looking for someone big and tall. Now, I will say this: Juju might meet all of those factors that we typically see with what DeBoer goes after. But I think what they like about Juju is that number one, that accuracy is huge, because in this offense, like that's what he's about. It's all about ball placement, right? And can you make these throws, right? That's why we're going to see Austin Mack probably excel when it's his turn. I mean, this guy, you watch Austin Mack with the ball, man. I mean, he has a beautiful deep ball. You look at all the throws he makes. I mean, when he rolls out and there's a crossbody into the end zone for a touchdown, and this highlight coming up here. But, I mean, it's impressive. And that's the type of guy he's going to go after. He wants to see those guys with accuracy, with the right type of character and integrity, who have the intangibles to be coached. In the system, you need to be able to be coached. You can't just go out there and think you kind of know it all, right? We run into that. We see that at times. But I love it. You know, I mean, I love what he's going after as far as recruiting. And I love that. And it was Curtis Riggs. Thanks, Merton. I appreciate you, man. That's who I was going for, is Curtis Riggs. Like, I think that's what I wouldn't be surprised if there's some backside scouting going on by Curtis Riggs. Yeah. To be honest with you, because Curtis Riggs is supposed to be like a quarterback whisperer. Yeah. You know, I like that. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, like Curtis Riggs is taking his time. You know, Curtis he's retired now, right? So maybe he's just sitting back watching film, like, hey, these are the kids. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's your best bud, and you trust him, right? Like, Curtis Riggs might be doing some extra work on the side. We all don't know, but Curtis is he's one of those dudes who has that character though too. So they're looking at guys. I mean, that package, right, is so important to DeBoer. That's exciting. So. Yeah, man. Well, great stuff, man. And if you guys like the content, definitely hit the thumbs up, and we'll get to the Merrill Report right now. Does a really great job. One of our great content creators here on Bama Football on YouTube. Killer stuff. Kind of threw that right to you, Merrill. So way to knock it out the park, man. But please hit the thumbs up, and we will catch you guys as soon and as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. But please enjoy Coach Merrill and the Merrill Report. It starts right now.